There was something off about the day we signed the papers for divorce. Even though things had been nice, it was still hard. The time we spent together in her lawyer's office was sad for me. I didn't like how she sounded so excited about what was going on and how she was there with her dirt-packed boyfriend. It shocked me that she looked so excited about it. We've been married for a long time and have a child together. During the divorce, this was the only time I thought she was being rude to me, but I didn't say anything because I had nothing left to show. We had to move on since the marriage was over. As I signed the papers, I could see some regret in her eyes. I think the look on her face was one of shock because of what I said. After giving it some thought, I already knew what I was going to say. I'm happy with what I said and how well it came through. It's not often that I act, but today I felt like I could pull off something big. Writing it down and practicing it until I felt sure I could say it, this is what I said. Yes, this does make me sad. I thought our lives were great and that we got along well. I'm sorry if you feel like I let you down because I couldn't give you the happiness you wanted, and you think that someone else would give you a better chance at happiness. I think the loss played a much bigger part than we think. When disasters happen, people either get closer and stronger, or they feel alone and lose something important in their lives. It's funny how something that should have been a great thing for us turned out to be terrible. But that was a long time ago. I want you to have a good life, and I think we can work together to give our kids the best and safest life possible. The room went silent when I said this. I could tell she felt bad about what she did because her face was very white. I got up, shook her hand, told her good luck, and left. The lawyer for her said he would give me a copy of the papers. At first, everything looked like it was going well. She moved in with him, but after a few months, their relationship began to have problems. He was said to be a jerk who drank too much and lived off of his family. Many people didn't like him. He also had an eye that seemed to be straying, and he was already making plans for his next victim. She looked like a younger girl who worked at a different business that his dad owned. It is important to note that I kept getting food from the first restaurant. The owner would always greet me, with a look of shame on his face when I walked in to place my order. It would have been weird for me to stay there. My ex-wife worked, lived with his child. When you think about how he left his wife too, the owner was very upset. He cared about his family and once told me he didn't understand what was wrong with this kid. Things started to go badly with this new, exciting power couple, as you might expect. They were fighting all the time, and things were bad for my ex-wife. That things aren't always better on the other side. I think my ex-wife saw that I wasn't such a bad pick. I was a strong guy for her who put her and the kids first. I was a good husband, and she may have made a bad choice. I did hear from her several times about how unhappy she was with her life, but I told her I wasn't the right person to talk to about it. She told me I was her best friend, and she could always talk to me. That's what I told her. But things had changed, and I didn't want to be a part of the talk no longer. She had to work things out by herself with her new partner. She said yes, but I thought I heard some sadness and pain in her voice when she hung up. As soon as I told her this, she had her dirtbag boyfriend over to her apartment for a party and movie night with the kids. One night that evening, she called me and said something upsetting. It looks like this dad had too much to drink and was mad that his kids didn't want to watch one of his shows. The kids didn't seem interested in the show, but I don't know what it was. Because of this, my dad got mad and hit my youngest daughter because he thought she was being rude. She got hit hard, and it hurt her face. When I got the call, I went over there right away. The first thing that came to mind was calling the cops. Maybe I should have, but I went over to get my kids. I ran away with my kids. I told him I would call the cops if I heard anything else from him about this, and he would be in a lot of trouble. There was something funny about telling my ex-wife, "And this is why you left me." She sighed, but didn't say anything. I think what had happened made her feel bad about herself. I don't know if she felt bad about the breakup, but I think she did know what she did and was sorry. That night, late at night, I heard a knock on the door and saw her crying. She told me she had broken up with her boyfriend and wanted to go home after I let her in. I tried to tell her I loved her and that we had a relationship for a long time, but I couldn't. We had been through a lot, and I didn't think it was a good idea for her to go back. There were just too many sad memories. I would never have left the mother of my children on the street by herself. She did call her parents when she got home. I took her there to stay. My ex-father-in-law met me at the door and thanked me. He said I was a good person and a good husband all along. He knew that I had put the kids first and was worried about the safety of his daughter as my ex-wife. I did tell him I would always be proud of his daughter. Even though things didn't go as planned, I would not let anything bad happen to her. There's still things I'm proud of, the things I did that night to protect my kids and then my ex-wife. They let her stay with them for almost a year until she could get back on her feet. She got a good job in the end and moved out on her own. She had always been a great mom, and now she had all of her old energy and spark back. It wasn't perfect, but it felt like things were about right. She may have a string of bad relationships, and I think she was cheated on more than once. She told me many times that our relationship was the best one she had ever had and that no one else could match. It might have been a lot of silliness, but I liked hearing it. Having said that, we didn't do anything romantic again, and I stayed friends with her out of respect. There was a chance I could have been with her again, but I didn't. I really wanted to, but I was afraid of hurting myself again. During this time, I had gone out with a few women, but nothing serious like a romance. A few of them wanted more, but I was about to give in. Job and kids kept me busy, and I didn't want to get married or make a long-term commitment to anyone else. For me, there were just too many bad memories, so I decided that going it alone would be best. The years went by very quickly. Before getting married and starting families, my kids did well in school and then went on to have great careers. During family events, my ex-wife and I would often see each other. She looked at me funny and always wanted to know if I was seeing someone else or if we could still get back together. I always told her no because some things in life are there to stay. You could tell she was sad all the time, and she told me that leaving me was the worst thing she had ever done. She told me that every day she doesn't stop and think about what if. Aside from that, she said it was especially hard for her at weddings, birthday parties, and other family events. She told me that the hardest times for her in this area were when her mother and father died and she had to go to their funerals. Seeing me there broke her heart, but I wasn't there as her husband or partner. Even though she knew I was a strong man and a good husband, she felt alone and sad these days. It made her feel the same way at all of our kids' weddings. She thought those days would have been great for us to spend together. She asked me if I had ever felt the same way. My answer has been that the event broke my heart, but I chose to move on and not look back. I thought her regret was silly because she was so sure that she would be truly happy with a new lover. It's getting close to 60 degrees, and I want to quit my job and go somewhere warm, even if it's just for the winter. My kids help me out and love their mom. Before I moved, the last time I talked to my ex-wife was at a birthday party for one of our grandchildren. She asked to talk to me by myself, so we went outside. Because of that, she became very upset and sensitive. She always thought there was a chance that we'd get back together. She would feel like the end of the world when I left, and she would be ashamed of having failed as a wife for the rest of her life. I told her that it had been a long time and that she shouldn't be feeling this way. I had nothing but love and respect for her. Following this, she asked if she could come over to see me. I told her I didn't know, but I'll think about it. I have to say that her beautiful green eyes always made my heart melt. It seemed like the years had been very good to her that day, and she looked very pretty to me. Even though bad things had happened in the past, I had never loved her more deeply than I did on this day, at this time, in this place, in my life. I thought I would be willing to get back in touch with her. I wasn't going to get married again, but would I have to lose now? Even though she didn't make me happy at times, I've always loved her. We might be able to move forward now. Now that winter is over, I'm in the Carolinas, and my ex-wife did come to see me. Even though I know it's crazy, I still feel the same way. She stayed at my house, and we did many things together. No matter how old we are, we were able to find that we still get along great during that special time. She only meant to be there for a weekend, but she stayed for 2 weeks and then a month. There was something that happened years ago that made her start to cry one night. She told me that the past few weeks had been very happy for her and that she was sorry for what had happened. She told me that she often wondered what if, and if she had wasted her life looking for a perfect relationship that couldn't exist. I told her that everything was over and that maybe it was time for us to move on and think again about our future together. I told her that I loved her and did not feel any different about it now. I also told her that she could come down and live with me forever if she wanted to. At this point in our lives, I told her I wasn't ready for another marriage. Would it really make a difference? She agreed, never left my house, and things have been great since then. It was hard for them to believe what we told them, but they were totally happy for us. My youngest daughter, on the other hand, told me she wasn't surprised because she knew I would always love her mother and didn't think things were over. Some people might think I'm crazy to do this again after all these years, but we only love and respect each other now. The events of so many years ago are no longer important. I've always thought of her as my wife, so now when I see her, all I feel is love and loyalty. There is a chance that things will get better, and I hope we have many happy years ahead of us. She made a bad choice, but that was a long time ago. I think we'll both have to deal with the results, but I'm excited about life and going on. It may sound corny, but one thing is very important to me. I always thought we were writing a book together, and I was sad that we would never be able to finish it. It's great that we have another chance to finish the book and add the last parts. Is my wife going to cheat on me again? At this point in our lives, I don't think she would. But time and experience have taught me that people aren't always the same. There are good and bad things about everyone, and one choice or deed does not make or break someone. I feel the same way. What I wish I could take back is that I always loved my wife and let my bad feelings control what I did. I might not have been so quick to judge her when I should have just remembered that she is a person. Things might have gone differently if I had tried this sooner. I also think, what if? But I'm glad we have this second chance. That's all I have to say. I hope I gave some of you something to think about.